We start tonight with a Fox News alert. Joe Biden's weaponized DOJ is at it again moments ago. They now officially piled on 3 more charges against former President Donald J. Trump, all related to the document case in Florida. This includes another count tied to the willful retention of government documents. Well, isn't that what Joe did next to the Corvette and at UPenn and at the beach house in Delaware and at the Delaware University? Oh, yeah, same thing. Anyway, 2 counts of obstruction. These additional charges could carry more than 20 years in prison. And meanwhile, a maintenance worker, they're going after maintenance workers at Mar-a-Lago, was also charged with obstruction. Now, this entire case about documents from Trump's presidency that were apparently stored at Mar-a-Lago. Now, don't forget, President Trump also facing 34 bogus charges in New York for allegedly mislabeling certain documents. Now, it looks likely also he will face more bogus charges in D.C. over January 6th. You can't forget about Fulton County, Georgia. According to multiple outlets, the courthouse in Georgia now is erecting barricades as a Trump indictment is looming there. Now, what we have is Joe Biden's weaponized Department of Justice. They are going full throttle to destroy Donald Trump. And I'm sure parking tickets, jaywalking, spitting on the sidewalk charges will be added any day now. And as for Joe Biden, the complete opposite is happening as we speak. The DOJ is taking what are extraordinary measures to shield the president and his crackhead son from a multitude of the most serious charges that can ever be made, in this case against a president, and that is the Biden bribery and foreign influence peddling allegations. Now, Joe Biden himself is also supposedly under investigation for mishandling classified material in decades, dating back to his time in the U.S. Senate, his time as VP, and storing top secret classified information in a variety of locations, although his homes didn't get raided. That would include the garage with the Stingray that they say is never open but is open all the time. That would be his personal library. That would be the UPenn Biden Center and an office building in D.C. And, of course, no one has been charged with any crimes in that case at all. Does anyone even know the name of the special counsel involved in that case? How come we never hear about him or grand juries that he has impaneled? As no raids took place at any of Joe's homes, and just like Hillary Clinton, the case against Biden appears to be going nowhere. So you have Joe Biden, president, his Department of Justice, politicized, weaponized, the FBI and the DOJ. What does that mean? It means equal justice and equal application under the law is currently dead in our country. It is a sad chapter in American history, and the consequences and long-term impact on our legal system is incalculable. If you're going to raid somebody's home for top secret classified documents in one party, you need to raid the home of the other guy. If you're going to say no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute in one party, you should say the same for the other party. At the same time, we have underhanded prosecutors with the DOJ recently cooking up what is the sweetest of sweetheart deals for the president's adult son with no experience, Hunter Biden, the crackhead, seemingly working hand in hand with Hunter's attorneys to keep him out of prison, all while shielding his father, the big guy, from any fallout in spite of what is now a mountain of evidence that is emerging. Yesterday, quote, he's a private citizen, Hunter Biden, rolled up to a courthouse in a motorcade to collect his slap on the wrist. And it was all, it was all going according to plan until that federal judge seemed to smell a rat and then started asking serious questions about Hunter's sweetheart deal. As Andy McCarthy put it in his column, the fix was in for Hunter Biden until a hero judge stepped up. Now, the U.S. District Judge in this case, Mary Ellen Noreika, wanted to know the true scope of the deal, put on record that the DOJ's wink and nod agreement with Hunter Biden fell apart right there in the courtroom before everybody's eyes. And to the bewilderment of Hunter and his legal team, prosecutors then had to admit in court that Hunter could still be charged with future crimes, including FARA violations, and was still the subject of what is an ongoing investigation. Now, that clearly was not the deal they believed they struck with prosecutors. So the judge, very wisely, courageously, saw what was going on and exposed the real intention of this so-called deal, which was to prevent Hunter and his dad from ever being held accountable for the millions and tens of millions of dollars that they did in business deals with foreign countries, many of them hostile regimes to our country, for zero experience from his son at the time, who was addicted to crack. Or was it really just access to Joe that they were paying for? What other services was Hunter able to even offer them? This was Hunter's get out of jail free forever card, and the judge stopped it dead in its tracks. Now think about this. How did Hunter and his lawyers show up at court yesterday to accept the plea agreement and not know that critical fact? How did they not know that? I think it's pretty obvious. Federal prosecutors were looking to quietly put this matter to bed once and for all without explicitly offering total blanket immunity to America's most notorious first son that has no experience. Now, Biden's DOJ was playing politics with a sly attempt to protect the president's son forever and the president himself, a tremendous courtesy that would never, ever, ever, ever be offered to Republicans, especially with the last name of Trump. And this is what I mean when I talk about a two-tiered system of justice in America. This is what it looks like. And this is why the Judiciary Committee is now investigating how the FBI under Joe Biden and how his DOJ, part of his executive branch of government, are politicized and weaponized. This is why half the country no longer has any faith in our justice system. Why should they? And by the way, while the DOJ came short of granting total immunity to Hunter Biden in the court of law, well, the plea deal did explicitly offer blanket immunity for a variety of crimes tucked away. We found it. It's right there. Paragraph 15 of the diversion agreement is the following paragraph. Let me read it to you. Quote, the United States agrees not to criminally prosecute Biden outside of the terms of this agreement for any federal crimes encompassed by the attached statement of facts. Well, the statement of facts included details about possible drug crimes, gun crimes, tax crimes, all related to multiple sketchy international business deals, with China, Ukraine, Russia, and about a dozen other countries, and all based on a new botched plea agreement. Hunter would never, ever face any consequences for any of these potential other crimes. In other words, what were all these countries paying somebody addicted to crack for, if not access to his vice president father? Now, aside from the two misdemeanor tax violations and the deferred gun charge, can you imagine someone associated with Donald Trump ever getting a deal like that? This is what America needs to think about tonight, because this is we're now talking about our Constitution, the foundation of which every law we have is built on. And in other words, do we believe we're a constitutional republic, or are we going to shred that document that keeps law and order and safety and security in our society? Merrick Garland, are you proud of this? Christopher Wray, are you proud? Mr. Higher Honor James Comey signed 3 of the FISA warrants when none of the information you gave was verifiable. It says verified at the top of the warrant. Are you proud tonight? Under Garland's disgraceful partisan leadership, the DOJ has now gone from bad to worse. Any trust in the Department of Justice has now been shattered, and yet Merrick Garland, he seems to care less, doesn't seem to care at all. But let not your heart be troubled. If any charges against Hunter ever make their way through Garland's partisan DOJ, the White House press secretary has assured us that Joe will not offer Hunter a single pardon. Take a look.
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just like when she swore that President Biden had no involvement with his son's business deals. And when Joe said, not one time did I ever talk to my son or my brother or anybody for that matter about their foreign business dealings. Not one time. Joe Biden has no integrity at all whatsoever. Look, It's this simple. If we don't right the ship at the DOJ and the FBI, we don't remain a constitutional republic. The country will be in deep, deep trouble. You can't have one system of law for one group of people and then have this entire elite group that don't get prosecuted the same way as everybody else.